All right, ladies and gentlemen, in the next few moments, I'm going to guide you on how you can build the most effective AI agents for your business. Since a lot of people I have discovered don't really know how to set them up or don't really know how to give them a task which is highly valuable and not waste their time building something that won't have a high ROI to their needs. So let's get started. We're going to cover three core topics: what is an AI agent, design foundations, and guardrails, because really that's all you need. And yeah, without wasting any more time, let's get into it. What is an agent? An agent has more or less three core parts to it. The first part is independent task execution, and that being an agent is a system whereby, basically, think of it this way: you don't really need to hustle and grind as much anymore, but while you're automating most of the tedious, repetitive work and you're making sure that you move at an efficient speed. Now, that is what an AI agent does. Tools integrated is also another key part of what makes an AI agent an AI agent, because it connects to external tools using things called API or just signing in. Of course, if it's Google Sheets, you can sign in simply, but if you're using something to scrape and to pull data from specific softwares, like but zero if you're in the financial space, you need the API. You understand? And this allows you to get access to that database. And also, the third and most important thing is the brain behind the agent, the LLM, the large language model. This is what you choose to be the brain of your operations. Think the Gemini 2.5, the DeepSeek R1. Every time you hear like, hey, OpenAI just updated this and they just released this new version, just think about it like, oh, they just released the new brain that might help an AI agent do something much better. You get my point? That's more or less what it is. And I want to keep it the way it is, because if you really think about it, that's the best example to define it. This is the part where you choose the model you want to use based on the complexity and the heaviness or the load, the workload of the data that you want to use. So here it's more about just thinking it through and being like, okay, I'm about to process a lot of complex information. Let me use a higher model, which is gonna cost more, of course. But if you're doing simple things like double checking names or double checking a number in a system, you can use older models and older versions of the open source LLMs. So it's not really that complicated when it comes to this. And I'll explain it further in future. But when should you build the agent? Agents are perfect when traditional workflows fall short. That's it. Agents are really perfect when traditional workflows fall short. Think tedious tasks whereby you need to hire a junior because you don't want to do it. This way you automate it. And imagine this: less errors. Well, no need for tedious training, because once you figure this out and once you train it correctly, you're done. All you have to do is update it. You get my point. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't need a pay raise. It doesn't need a pay. It doesn't complain about pay gaps. It doesn't bicker about all these things that humans do. You get my point. And unfortunately, that's the sad part of it. That's the sad part, that a lot of people are gonna get replaced with AI. But then the question is, are you allowing your business to get replaced, or are you gonna have to make the call and do what you have to do? So the three things you have to consider when you want to build an AI agent: when the rules are messy, systems with tricky, hard to update rules like security updates, when it needs complex decision making. Basically, if you have an automation which helps you with deal flow and you just need to get as much data, scrape, and put everything in one position so that you can make the final decision on your end, automations are very useful. Or like here, judgment, like approving refunds, understand? Or unstructured data. You get it, especially when you're in the financial space. When you're in the financial space, like insurance claim here, too much unstructured data, and you might just be looking for one thing, or you might just be looking for a specific thing or in a specific way, so that you can make a decision based on the information that you get. Now, when you have unstructured data, it's all over the place. It becomes much more difficult, or much more of a drag, when you want to read the whole document and do whatever you need to do and make a decision and compile it. No, becomes much more annoying when you have to read the whole document, summarize it, format it in a way which you can understand even easier, so that your associates can understand it easier and then make a decision. That's when it becomes annoying. So this is more or less where you can use AI automation, and where you can use or think about, okay, this is the direction I'm going to take when building these things. Now, next, when it comes to design foundations, there are also three. I keep things at 333 because it's easier to remember. The first one is model. Like I said, the brains of the workflow. You choose the right brains based on the complexity and the load of the tasks. It's as easy as that. The more recent or the higher or the more smart the AI model is, the more it's going to cost, of course, but the more it's going to be able to handle more complex and more heavy loaded tasks. You understand? Like I gave the example I gave before. And then the next thing is tools integrated. This I believe that I already covered, but then connecting to databases, APIs, and everything so that it can take actions like Gmail, like Google Sheets, like Telegram, like WhatsApp. You can connect your APIs, your details, so that your CRMs, you can connect your CRMs, your APIs. You can connect your Gmails, your Google Sheets, your CRMs, your financial accounts, your whatever you can think of. Being honest, the sky is truly the limit here. So don't be shy to think outside of the box. And then instructions. Instructions are basically the rule book that it has to follow, the what it has to actually do or how it actually has to behave in specific scenarios. And this can differ. If it's a customer support, you tell it like in this scenario, when somebody asks for a refund, you behave in this manner. When somebody wants product recommendation, you behave in this manner, so on and so forth. You understand? So that's instructions. Now let's go back to tools integrated. And I know I might be slightly all over the place, but bear with me a little bit. It's been a while since I recorded. It's been a while, and I'm still getting back in my group. But either way, data tools like query databases and CRMs, acting tools like emails, orchestra tools like other agents to help maintain the main agent. Like I said, I didn't mention the orchestration tools, but it's there and it's there to be considered. Next, instructions need to be crystal clear. Using existing documents like support scripts, break tasks into smaller steps, spell out actions like ask for order number. And you have to be very specific, like you're training your 16-year-old cousin to come work for you. Now, the thing about your 16-year-old cousin there, he's very intelligent. He just doesn't know what to do yet. You understand my point? He's very intelligent, and once you show him the way properly, he can do everything perfect, the way you want it to, exactly how you imagine, exactly how you wanted it to. But then it's all about how you train your little cousin. You get my analogy. So, moving on. Anyways, guardrails. I had to change my position because lighting was a bit bad and I was sitting uncomfortably. But let's get into it and let's finish the video. Guardrails. Now, this one is kind of straightforward and it's not that long, but here are some key takeaways or key notes that you should consider when building guardrails. Relevance classifier. Basically, this means making sure that the AI agent stays on topic, especially if you're using it in things like customer support or you're using it as an internal team coach or something and along those lines. You want to make sure it stays on topic. You don't want a customer support agent answering questions like how far is the moon, so on and so forth. And I'm going to show you examples later. Safety classifier, block harmful inputs like jailbreaks, or basically this means especially when it comes to chat support or giving advice, you have to put borders like, hey, you can't be giving medical advice, especially if you're the one who built the AI agent, because it can cause a lot of problems if you get it wrong. You understand? So have barriers or guardrails around that. Or if you're in your internal comms, you don't want it to have, maybe you have a team agent or you have a team AI assistant. You don't want it to be able to access the manager's information, the CEO's information, while the person is a junior. You get it? You want it to help the junior and you want the junior to make sure they take a full advantage of it, but you don't want them to be having access to the finances of your company. You understand my point? So that also is a very key, important thing you should also consider. PII filters, this basically just means personal information. So it's the customer support agent again as well. But in this case, you have to think in terms of you don't want somebody asking an AI agent, hey, what are my banking details? I have this code. Can you please find my safe banking details or my social security number or my ID number, whatever the case is. You get my point. Well, somebody can get access of that person's order number and then access the AI agent and then do it as whatever they want. So to protect them or protect yourself, especially your company, you don't want to find yourself in a position where your AI agent is leaking these things. You get my point. So those are just a few guardrails that you should consider. Here's an example. Someone asks, how tall is the Empire State Building? The AI agent will say, hey, go Google for that. Just simple, straightforward. Go Google for that. It's none of its concern. It wasn't trained for that. It was trained to do a specific task and execute it professionally. That's how it works. You get my point. So in summary, let's go through it again. An agent handles workflows with intelligence and autonomy. Why did I say smarts? Anyways, smarts and autonomy. Use them for complex, messy, or data-heavy tasks. Build a solid moral tools and instructions. add guardrails for safety. That is honestly it. And this guide was proudly given to us by, if I'm not mistaken, it's OpenAI. Yeah, it's OpenAI. It's the guy from OpenAI on how to build effective agent. And I hope this is a comprehensive summary and you don't have to go read the whole 60-page booklet. So start small, make a simple agent, test it, grow from there. A lot of resources on YouTube, email list below, and you'll get templates and guides on this. Like, I was planning on saying the whole, like, you'll get this and this, but just sign up to the email list below, man. You'll just see what you get, and you'll see what you do with that information once you get it. Anyways, I hope this was very helpful. I hope that you click the link below and find more resources. Like I said, more resources on YouTube, more resources from me. And yeah, this was this was a summary version of a 60-page booklet from OpenAI on how to build an AI agent. I think it's OpenAI if I'm not mistaken. I scripted this. I did this a few days ago, but I just forgot whether it was OpenAI or Anthropic. But either or, I hope you found this valuable, and I hope you get started with building your first AI agent and take complete advantage of AI, because it is here to stay, and you're gonna get beat by people who are using it. That's it. So see you at the top. Cheers.